we are looking at the data of Visionary Bank. Visionary Bank is your bank anytime, anywhere. And this is a bank that is 100% online and which allow our users to manage their finances from anywhere they are. And we are going to be looking at the data from 2018 because we definitely want to propel our bank towards a sustained growth and success. And we're going to be looking at what we did right or wrong on that year. And our analysis will show that we had a global churn rate of 27% on that year. We want definitely to bring it down. So let's dive into it. So first of all, we're going to look at the market overview. We had to analyze to this data more than 16,000 users across 40 different markets or countries. As you can see, the UK, France, and Poland are our biggest markets in terms of user count and also in terms of transactions. UK and Poland, as you can see here. On the other hand, Switzerland and Malta we have less users, but we have a bigger number of transactions of value on those transactions, and also Spain. This is because there are big financial sectors there, and also Spain in case we have big tourist destinations there. And let's look a little bit more on the transaction part. The transactions data that we analyzed, 90% of the transactions, we had different transaction type, but 90% of the data is on these top 5 transactions here. So we're talking about transfers, top-up, exchanges, card payments, and ATM. As you can see here, the biggest one is in terms of value is transfers with 205 billions moved in 2018. And in the number of transactions, we have here card payments as well, small transactions, but lots of them. And looking at that transaction, what we want to see here, the average value on those transactions in the beginning of the year is really low, but then we managed to keep it up for the end of the year. We had really good results there and really good user engagement. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in each of our slides to understand what happened. First of all, there is always the seasonality effect here, but also in the first quarters of the year, we didn't have enough customers to make like big transactions. So we should look in 2019 or next year to understand how it will be for the first quarters, but we could prevent that low period with counter-seasonal products, some targeted incentives, and some partner campaigns. So it's just some information that we would like to take a look at for the next year, but we should prevent this low period. And we're going to also analyze a little bit who is our customer, right? We have here a big chunk of our customers are millennials from, at the time, 22 to 27 years old. They are 66% of our users. And as we can see here, the Gen X and Gen Z is really close on number of users. And what is really interesting to see here, we saw that by dividing this by the number of transactions, our millennials, they do lots of transactions because also they are the big chunk of users here. But when you look at the Gen Z, which is the youngest generation, they do fewer transactions, of course, but the average amount of those transactions is way higher. And then we're going to jump into the base of our work here, which is the churn rate. Just to remember, our global churn rate is at 27%, but we also break it down in different ways here to understand a little bit deeper what is going on. So on this side, we have a table with all our countries where we operate, the number of users, and also the churn rate by each one of them. But just focusing on the top 5 here, you can see that United Kingdom we have a really high churn rate, higher than the average, and also is our biggest market in terms of users. We should definitely be suggesting here some targeted retention strategies for this region. But also when we look at Switzerland and Malta, we see different behavior here. On Switzerland, like the biggest financial markets here, we have 28% of churn rate, closer to the global one. We still need to bring it down a little bit. And Malta, we're doing something really good, really good there. We have 5% churn rate. So yeah, we should analyze what we're doing well there specifically with more data in the future. And then we decided also to break it down by generation and by time. So by generation, we see here that millennials and Gen Z, they have the same behavior with our solution, but Gen X, which if you remember is the oldest generation, they have here a higher churn rate. So definitely we should be looking at this group specifically and try to come up with strategies on how we communicate with them, how the product is showing for them, how we do onboarding strategies for them. So it's really important to take a look at that and take really good care of those customers as well. And then when we look at the time, for the first 2 quarters, as I said before, we had not so many users, but the churn rate was really high. And then we started doing something really well by the end of the year, as you can see on the quarter 3 and also 4. I imagine we had smaller churn rate for that quarters. And before we jump into actually more details here, I'm going to talk about this in 2 slides. But first, we're going to talk about the subscription plans to also talk about the churn rate by plan. So to give you an idea, we have 3 different plans apart from the promotional ones that we send. So our user base is predominantly on the standard plan. So we have 80% of our users there. And then premium and metal plan also with 10%, around 10% each. Why is this really important here? So we can see that the churn rate, we divided here by the plans, and we have the standard plan with almost 29% churn rate, which is expected. But we can see here that the premium and metal are with less than 7%. So we should definitely be trying to encourage users to migrate from the standard plan to the higher tier plans. This with marketing campaigns or other type of ideas. We're going to talk a little bit about our ideas for that later. And we can see here that throughout the year on April and August, you see that we have a bigger share here of premium users. So we did something really interesting there. That's why we're going to take a look right now on the notifications and the promotions that we did. And as you can see here on the right side, over the year, we changed a little bit our strategy, or we adapted a little bit our strategy, and it was really positive. So first of all, we started by sending emails to our users, maybe to start our user base. And then by the end, we started mixing it up with push notifications and SMS. So we're talking about user engagement and user acquisition by different types of notifications, right? And then, as you can see here on these 2 graphs on the bottom, the first one on the left is the evolution on the count of the number of notifications or promos that we sent over the year. And on the right side, we have the graph showing us how many users actually joined our platform over the year as well. So as you can see, they are really reflecting one another in 2 specific points here. That's what I would like to point out. On March, we sent almost 7K emails for our users, and that reflected really well on our user acquisition here. So really good what we did. We should continue doing that for user acquisition. And then we can see here also in August, where we also sent even more notifications for our users, and a little bit, we changed a little bit how we interacted with them with SMS and push notifications. and that maybe help us here to retain our users and acquire new users. So we had a steady growth here when we managed to put them all together. Yeah. And then we would like to finish here by showing we created this top management dashboard. Here there is like just a quick view of everything that we did so far. So the top management could just take a look at really quick information instead of going through the entire presentation. And also you can see here that some different information like the average onboarding days that I'm going to talk about in the next slides. So to close our presentation, we have some business recommendations. It's just 4 of them based on the data that we analyzed for 2018. So starting with what I just said, the onboarding strategies, we should definitely be looking at that because as I said before, we have 11 days between the time the user creates the account and when the time the first transaction that the first time the user use our app or our service to make a transaction. So that may be an indicative of the onboarding process. We have to try to shorten it. Maybe we have to define maybe within a week, but we should definitely try to understand what is going on the onboarding strategies there. Second one would be the marketing campaigns. We already talked about it. We should tailor the communication channels and also the communication with our customers inside the app to be maybe more personalized or direct to adapt to our different generations and different people using the app. Also loyalty programs to offer some perks and rewards, and also take seasonality into account when we want to level it down a little bit, especially in the beginning of the year. And then the last 2 ones would be enhance the value proposition plans. This we already talked into. It is really important. We have to say that the users need to upgrade their plans to premium and metal plans because we saw how different it is on their engagement, and for us the retention of those users is there. So that's a really important factor for us. And then to close, we would like also to implement or to propose to implement a service system and support system here that is basically just sending random surveys, maybe when they do a transactions or after X amount of time. We should try to understand what is the user satisfaction and dissatisfaction with our services. And then just so we keep enhancing our product. So we believe that implementing those strategies can effectively mitigate the churn or bring it down, enhance the customer satisfaction, and propel our bank toward a sustainable growth. That's it for now on our side. This is the team, and we are here for any questions you have.